You must feel super close to him right now, I guessed. TJ grinned. Yep, good times. I wondered how a god could go 150 years without acknowledging a son as brave as TJ. But my friend wasn't alone. I knew a lot of Ainihari who had never met their parents. FaceTime with the kids was not a priority for Norse deities. Maybe because they had hundreds or thousands of children, or maybe because gods were jerks. TJ lay back on his tarp mattress. Now I just gotta figure out how to kill that giant. I'm worried a direct frontal charge might not work. For a Civil War soldier, this was creative thinking. So, what's your plan? I asked. No idea! He tipped his Union cap over his eyes. Maybe something will come to me in my dreams. Night, Magnus. He began to snore almost as loudly as Alex. I couldn't win. I lay awake, wondering how Sam, Halfborn, and Mallory were doing aboard the ship. I wondered why Blitzen and Herstone weren't back yet, and why it would take them 5 days just to scout the location of a whetstone. Njord had promised I'd see them again before the really dangerous stuff went down. I should have gotten him to swear an oath on his immaculately groomed feet. Mainly, though, I worried about my own impending duel with Loki, a contest of insults with the most eloquent Norse deity. What had I been thinking? No matter how magical Casavir's mead was, how could it possibly help me beat Loki at his own game? No pressure, of course. If I'd lost, I'd just be reduced to a shadow of myself and imprisoned in Helheim, while all my friends died at Ragnarok, destroyed in the Nine Worlds. I could buy a book of Viking insults at the Viking Center gift shop. TJ snored on. I admired his courage and positivity. I wondered if I'd have a tenth of his presence of mind when I had to face Loki. My conscience answered, no, then broke down in hysterical sobbing. Thanks to the rain, I finally managed to sleep, but my dreams were not relaxing, nor were they reassuring. I found myself back on Naglfar, the ship of the dead. Masses of Draugr swarmed the deck, rags and millweed armor hanging from their bodies, their spears and swords corroded like burnt matchsticks. The warrior spirits fluttered inside of their rib cages, like blue flames clinging to the last remnants of kindling. Thousands upon thousands shambled toward the foredeck, where hand-painted banners hung along the rails and waved from the yardarms in the frigid wind. Make some noise! Go, Draugr, go! Ragnarok and roll! And other slogans, so terrible they could only have been written by the dishonored dead. I did not see Loki, but standing at the helm on a dais cobbled together from dead man's nails was a giant so old I almost thought he might be one of the undead. I'd never seen him before, but I heard stories about him. Hrym, the captain of the ship. His very name meant decrepit. His bare arms were painfully emaciated. Wisps of white hair clung to his leathery head like icicles, making me think of pictures I'd seen of prehistoric men found in melting glaciers. Moldy white furs covered his wasted frame. His pale blue eyes, though, were very much alive. He couldn't have been as frail as he looked. In one hand, he brandished a battle axe bigger than I was. In the other hand was a shield made from the sternum of some huge animal, the space between the ribs fitted with sheets of studded iron. Soldiers of Helheim! The giant bellowed. Behold! He gestured across the gray water, and at the other end of the bay, the glacial cliffs crumbled more rapidly, ice cracking and slothing into the sea with a sound like distant artillery. The way will soon be clear, the giant shouted. Then we sail to battle! Death to the gods! The cry went up all around me, hollow, hateful voices of the long dead taking up the chants. Mercifully, my dream shifted. I stood in a recently plowed wheat field on a warm, sunny day. In the distance, wildflowers blanketed rolling hills. Beyond that, milk-white waterfalls tumbled down the sides of picturesque mountains. Some part of my brain thought, at last, a pleasant dream. I'm in a commercial for organic whole wheat bread.